top. Go. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Wednesday evening. Another edition of KFTV's post-game live. CP the Franchise, JD Sports Talk on the ones and twos. Knicks back in action at the world's most famous arena after a brutal weekend against the NBA's elite. And shout out to Mikal Bridges for setting the tone and bouncing back with his squad. 19 first quarter points, which set the Knicks off on a good path, ultimately to a 19-point first half lead. But that was not enough because Tyrese Maxey and Paul George would clap back ferociously for the Philadelphia 76ers all the way into the fourth quarter to ultimately take the lead. But you know what time it is. It's Captain Clutch time. Jalen Brunson with 9 straight points in the fourth quarter. Damian Dotson, I hope you're watching because Captain Clutch delivered again for his boys, man. Knicks win 110-105. It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty, man. Lock in. Call us up on the KFTV Discord with your takes on this one. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. Another cardiac Knick affair, man. Hope you got your pacemakers tuned up. Just getting started, man. Let's go. Oh, man. Man, oh, man. What a night, bro. What a night. Interesting night, man. Very interesting night. That's all I can say, man. But, you know, it took so many turns, man. From a big high with Mikal setting out the gates early, and you're thinking, hey, nice turnaround, and maybe this is what they need to get him going, just to get him involved early in the offense. But then here come the defensive breakdowns. Here come the sloppy turnovers. And the ball of lightning that is Tyrese Maxey got the Sixers this lead, man. It was kind of crazy to see. But, look, ultimately Jalen Brunson got the job done, closed the door in the clutch. And, you know, we could sit here and look for a lot more diverse offense in that fourth quarter. But he did what he had to do, man, as he always does, man. Go out there and kill. What'd you think about this one?
I don't know. A win is a win.
Yeah.
A win is a win, bro. And at the end of the day, you know, we'll have some feelings about this one. I'm sure many of them will be mixed feelings. Some will be, you know, a little bit disappointed at that it had to take all the way basically to the last seconds to pull out this victory, especially when you consider, you know, they were up double digits.
Yeah.
I mean, their largest lead tonight was 19 points against a team that had lost 8 in a row, against a team that was 10-17 on the road, against a team that is flat out the biggest, I would say, them and the Pelicans are up there, the biggest disappointments of the season. Probably the Sixers more than the Pelicans for sure, considering the names on this roster and the head coach as well. He is respected around the league. And with all that, you know, I can understand some frustrations tonight. But listen, they come out with a victory. They're 38-20, 21-10 at home. And Jalen Brunson again. I mean, he has the third most clutch points in the NBA. Third most clutch points in the NBA. He scored 12 of the Knicks' last 14 points. Put that into perspective in the clutch. 12 of the Knicks' last 14 points. He had a personal 9-0 run to take the lead. And you can make the argument on one end that it doesn't need to get to this point. The other end, when you talk about Jalen Brunson himself, you can make the other argument that, you know, when the MVP consideration ends the season, he should be in that top 5, top 6, because too many times this season he's had to bail this Knicks team out. And it goes to show you, you know, what this team could be if everything else clicks around him. Because if there's one thing that he's personally taken a step this season, in my opinion, is somehow he's actually been more clutch, at least in the regular season. And we know what Jalen Brunson can do in the playoffs. So, you know, we'll break this game down, and then there'll be some excitement with potentially Mitchell Robinson on Friday, and you'll move forward to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah, big time, man. And one thing, as you notice, when this thing started falling apart, is that he can't afford to get that much time off. I mean, he did get quite a bit in between the third and the fourth, but that's when things really started breaking down. I mean, obviously defensively, listen, man, Maxey is gonna be a tough cover for anybody. Paul George starts getting it going. Sixers started getting some of those 50-50 balls as well. So, that certainly played into their favor. But you could see that, especially in the fourth quarter, Knicks had a lot of trouble generating offense. Payne was running point. You had Hart turning the ball over left, right, and center. OG, I mean, stumbling, bumbling all around. Like, they just could not get into a flow. And it was just, it wasn't running much for Bridges either. And so this is your offense, man. With no Cat, you got to go back to number 11 to get the job done for you. And look, man, this is just what he does, man. 1-4 flat. I got it. Let's get it popping. And 9 straight points. That 3-ball in front of Maxey. Like, as soon as he let it go, that's his shot. Those elbow threes, that's money right there. As soon as he shot it, and even though it did like rim in and out, and then back in, it looked money from the jump, man. So, hey, we'll take it, man. Great job by Jalen Brunson there for sure.
And listen, Brunson has it's I don't even know what to make of you know. I've always thought that somehow the Sixers will find a way. It's just meant to be. It feels like sometimes where the Sixers will find a way to make the playoffs and play the Knicks in the first round. Like, that's the hope that I thought was going to materialize at some point. But I mean, this Sixers team is reeling to the point where I don't even know if they're going to be able to make the play in. I mean, they're just, and I think at this point, I honestly do think that they may be quietly trying to tank to keep their pick. They have a top 6 protected pick. And with the Joel Embiid potential, I think that he's going to be shut down. They may try to, keep their pick in the top 6. But listen, Jalen Brunson has this little rivalry building with Kelly Oubre, with the Philadelphia 76ers fan base, with the Philadelphia 76ers franchise, and another outstanding performance, if you want to put this along with the other playoff performances where he had 30 plus, 40 plus against the Sixers. So Jalen Brunson, again, the captain, comes through for the New York Knicks.
Did somebody send the highlights to Dotson? Somebody sent it to Dotson over in Turkey, man. They about 8 hours ahead. Whole team Dot. You might be waking up. Good morning to my guy Dotson, man. We just it's so funny. We played.
Not great timing.
Not great timing for my man, whole team Dot, man. But somebody, we'll ship him over the highlights and let him know Captain Clutch, just does what he does. He just does what he does. That's it. Where'd you say he was at? Total clutch points? Third? Moved up to third?
Yeah, third most clutch points in the NBA this season.
There you go. There you go, man. What did you make of the Bridges start? He was in the crosshairs of the fan base. It was a rough weekend for him as well. We were looking for this. We were looking for this guy in the more important moments against Philly. Against Boston and against Cleveland, respectively. But I'm wondering, like, is this a thing where obviously we see this type of usage and aggressiveness whenever the Knicks are losing a guy. Like when Towns sits or with no heart, you usually see this type of upping his level of play in terms of Mikal Bridges. But I'm wondering if this was more of a concerted effort by Brunson and these guys to get him involved, get him in a rhythm early to just keep him active on both ends of the floor.
You certainly saw tonight that there was definitely some sort of emphasis to kind of build his confidence back up and get him going. And listen, like I said, tonight he had quite the matchup. Like, I understand you look at the record, but when you look at the individual matchup, he had quite a tough night. This is like going up against, one of the top players. You want to talk about Darius Garland or Donovan Mitchell. uh, whoever on the Celtics, probably bigger wings, but Tyrese Maxey is probably the fastest guy out of everyone I just named.
True.
And we all know with Tyrese, and the thing about Tyrese Maxey is he's gonna put up volume. So he's gonna make you work. He's
Right.
gonna put you through screens, right? Because he loves to get the pick so that he can go and kind of go in a straight line speed off the pick and create havoc. That's how he creates a lot of chaos, and that's how he loses you. That's why we saw OG in the past struggle against Tyrese Maxey's speed. So you have a night against Tyrese Maxey, it doesn't matter what the Sixers record is, he's going to make you work. And when you look at the box score, that's exactly what he did. He put up 32 shot attempts in 44 minutes. That was Tyrese Maxey, and he put up 10 3-point shots. Guess what? He didn't hit one. He was 0 of 10 from three. He was 12 of 32 overall. He did have 30 points, but that's on 37% overall field goals. So from a defensive standpoint, the Knicks as a team defended him well, but Mikal, when he had the assignment, did an outstanding job defensively. Offensively, he got himself going, but this is the thing, CP. I think that when he has nights like this tonight, regardless of the circumstances tonight, Towns wasn't available, so there's more usage available for him. But you still do see spots on the game, even when Cat is there, where he has that opportunity to be aggressive, to take over some of that usage as well. And it's just been too inconsistent. So when he has a night like tonight, I think he actually raises the expectations for himself to continue this level of play. And then what, at this point, the environment that's been created is you had a very good night. It's a step in the right direction from a confidence standpoint. But we've gotten to the point this season is, can you do it Friday against the Grizzlies? Can you do it next week against the Golden State Warriors? Can you do it against the red hot Lakers? Like, you start to see that now fans and the expectations is going to be, can you do it versus the hot teams in the NBA and the elites that have been, giving the New York Knicks trouble this season?
Yeah, gonna need it certainly if they want to continue to win games with the status of Karl-Anthony Towns. I mean, listen, I didn't expect Towns tonight. I was hoping he wouldn't play tonight after what happened in Boston. Like, I was like, yo, sit down and just get some rest, because he had no business even coming back into that game. So it was a good thing that they rested him. But now shifting into the storyline, and once again, shout out to Mikal Bridges, because he had a monster night. If we just go through his box score real quick, 28 points, 12 of 18, super efficient night, 3 of 5 from downtown, 3 assists, 2 steals, and a block. So overall, great job on both ends. But another storyline is that you don't have Towns in this game. Huckporty comes in, he starts, he gives Huckporty the start, gives him some good energy, some good defense, ran the floor well on the pick and roll, got him involved early. He leaves the game with the sprained left knee. Precious comes in, and I thought Precious' defense in particular, from a rim protection standpoint, was great. He had 4 blocks, but now you're down two bigs. You got Mitch coming through slowly, so now Precious becomes your most important big for the foreseeable future.
And this such the life of a Knicks fan this season. We have a roster full of just guys that are just going to give you a heart attack. It seems like, right? Like, you got OG, you got, now I guess Huckporty's going to enter the club. You got Towns. Obviously you have Mitch. Like, there's actually a nucleus of players here that are going to keep Knicks fans up on their heels as they watch every second of a basketball game, because any of these guys can go down on any moment.
Yeah.
And tonight it was, we've seen it a few times with OG, who, that continues to be, a heart attack for me, possession to possession. But Precious came through tonight. It's unfortunate because let's see what's Huckporty's status for Friday with Mitch coming back. I started to wonder, will Thibodeau go back to that 48-minute of rim protection philosophy that he had back when we had the Nerlens Noel here, with Mitch, and that was important for him. I was wondering, I was looking forward to seeing that. Maybe we'll still see it. Let's see what his status is. But, listen, Huck Porty came in, and it's unfortunate for him because he only played 16 minutes, but he was 4 of 5, and as you mentioned, had 3 blocks, only 2 rebounds. And I think when I see him, the rebound numbers haven't been impressive for him in the minutes he's gotten, but I think it's because he plays so hard on that drop coverage. And that's the other thing too, is we low-key do see like he has potential in that department for this head coach's system when it comes to the drop coverage. He reminds me a little bit of Joel Anthony. If those guys, if you any of you remember from the Miami Heat 6'9" center, he was a stifling drop coverage guy because of his ability to recover and hedge, his speed off the pick on defense. He used to be very good in that department. I see Huck Porty, who has more size as a 7-footer, as a guy that has a lot of potential in that scheme. And you saw it, but with the 19-point lead and their defense early, Huck Porty's minutes was very valuable for that. And I think his positioning needs to get better, and that's how he'll become a better rebounder. Precious comes in, and I think at this point, CP, you see where my stance is on Precious. Precious is playable against everyone, in my opinion, but the top of the top in the NBA when it comes to the Cavs and Celtics, because I think those teams has personnel and coaching that they focus individually on matchups on a possession to possession basis. You don't see, like tonight, you don't see teams, seeing Precious on the floor and sagging off him and just say, you know what, shoot.
Yeah.
You don't see that as much. You don't see that much emphasis. So against the very good teams and the mediocre teams, Precious is a very, very valuable asset to the Knicks. But obviously, once you start playing the top teams, you make certain lineup adjustments.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, I said this on my Bleacher Report show today. We talk about how the Celtics exposed Towns, and some people even ask, hey, even when Mitch comes back, is that going to make a difference if you got to see Boston? Because they in the past have played him off the court, especially with the addition of Porzingis. And I'm like, you might have to look at Precious at the 5 at some spots, man. Like, Thibodeau might have to go that deep into his bag where you might have to go super small and go Precious at the 5 to try to contain these guys in the pick and roll. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but that might be, next to Mitch, that might be your best shot at defending them in the pick and roll, man. Like, I don't know what other options they're going to have. So, you might have to go Brunson, Bridges. I know they don't like the Hart and Precious combo, so, hey, maybe it's Brunson, McBride, Bridges, OG, Precious for a little bit. You might have to run that.
And you're talking about what, against like a Celtics team?
Yeah, you might have to, bro.
Problem with the Celtics is I don't think that you can afford putting 2 players on the court that just are not going to give you pressure, are not going to put pressure on the defense, just because that the Cavaliers, you put them in that same sentence too. The offensive talent is just too potent, and then the Knicks are not as strong defensively, even with a Mitch. Like, they're even at their best. I think the Knicks are a decent, maybe they get to decent defensive team, and that is not enough, I guess, in my opinion, to put multiple players on the court at the same time. That because now you're kind of playing a math game where you're doing it to hope to get enough stops, but then if you're not scoring at the same pace as you're getting those stops. Well, that's why I say
you might have to sacrifice Hart. You might have to sacrifice Hart at that point. You put in Deuce.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to go small, sacrifice Hart, and like as you mentioned, play Deuce and kind of mix and match the lineups, because that's the only way you're gonna have a shot against a team like the Celtics.
Yeah. Gonna be interesting, man. Sibs is gonna have to get kind of creative and get into his bag there, but also, like, even when the Precious and Hart combos, when he did force it out there, I thought the Knicks did a terrible job of utilizing it. Like, nobody's moving around. There's no off-ball movement. These guys aren't setting screens to free guys up. Like, even when every team in the league doesn't have 5 capable floor spaces, 5 capable shooters. However, with your off-ball movement, or when you setting screens off ball, dribble handoffs, things of that nature, you still getting guys involved in the offense to make the defense work. You got to make the defense work force them into some sort of rotation so that you can ultimately get the advantages that you're looking for. But if you're just going to have Hart out there scared to shoot, Precious out there only moving when they're giving him the ball, and you don't want him shooting, anytime you put the ball on the floor from 20 feet out, it's a turnover. So you don't want that. But they've got to, like, reinforce to these guys that they've got to get some motion going off of the ball to be effective if they're going to have them out there in no lineups. You might not have a choice.
And what's frustrating sometimes as a Knicks fan is when you see them tonight at the Garden playing against the Sixers. Now, again, Sixers have some names on their roster. You got some veterans. You're on the floor with Paul George. You're on the floor with Andre Drummond. You're on the floor with Tyrese Maxey. You're on the floor with Kelly Oubre. Like, there's some veterans on that team. And quite frankly, a lot of the players I just named, these guys were supposed to be part of potential championship contender. So it's not, they lost Joel Embiid, but everyone else pretty much was supposed to be part of their rotation. But yet you still see like guys on the team playing, I think, a little bit more loose. You saw Mikal playing a little bit more loose. And I think that's the difference there is I think they see who they're playing against and they don't feel the pressure enough. So that actually lets them play a little bit more free. And you see the psychological effect when they're on the floor against the Celtics and the Cavaliers, where I think the pressure gets to them because you see more hesitations on their dribble. You see more hesitations on their cuts. You see more hesitations on their rotations. And I think that mental hurdle is something that they have to overcome when they play those teams and play the same with the same speed, the same aggressiveness, and quite frankly, the same loose ability. Even Precious tonight, even on his misses, but you saw there was just more of a natural rhythm to his game. But I know it's because he was like, "Oh, I'm not playing the Celtics."
More loose.
And yeah, like the dunk he had, that was a smooth move. He had a jump shot from the free throw line. That was a smooth move. That it wasn't like a hesitation. But watch him play the Cavs. It's like everybody tightens up. They don't want like the guys that Josh Hart doesn't know what to do. Precious doesn't know what to do, and people start to hesitate. So that's why I think when I look at it, I'm like, yo, these teams really 30 points, like better than us. Like, what is it? Because it's not like, yo, this team is very talented. Then you start to really break it down. You start to look at the film. You see that there's some coaching in there. There's some personnel issues, but I think there's also a mental hurdle that they have to overcome.
Good points, good points there. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, subscribe to the channel. Knicks win 110, 105. Leave an emoji in the chat, man, wherever you guys are watching from. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram. Leave an emoji. Let us know how you're feeling about tonight's game. And call us up on the KFTV Discord. We are going to get to the calls real quick. And before that, we want to shout out our sponsor, man. The sponsor of tonight's callers is HelloFresh, man, America's #1 meal kit. With HelloFresh, you get farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit, man. And I rock with HelloFresh heavy. You get nice, fresh ingredients straight to your doorstep. So a lot of us, man, we got to multitask. We got job, we got kids, we got school, a lot going on. So this is a way to, not have to take that extra trip to the grocery store. You go to HelloFresh.com, you pick from the menu, you pick the recipes that you want, and then they deliver it right to your door. Real simple and easy. All the ingredients are fresh, and you cook it to your style, you cook it to your liking. So get up to 10 free meals and a free high-protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/HelloFreshPodcast. That's HelloFresh.com/HelloFreshPodcast. You get one item per box with the active subscription, and the free meals applied as a discount on the first box. This is for new subscribers only. It's going to vary by plan. And once again, HelloFresh.com/HelloFreshPodcast. All right, let's get to the phones, man. Zach, how you feeling, man?
Oh, how am I feeling? I guess we can call that a win.
Yeah.
At least we did come out with a W. A little bit lackluster at the end, obviously, going from 19 up to 4 down. Then for a big bucket Brunson to pull it out for us is a little depressing, but obviously, a win is a win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Mikal start was very exciting. From start, I mean, he could have obviously the second half was a little bit slow, only 11 points, but nonetheless, a win is a win, and got to keep our chin up and look for Memphis on Friday, and hopefully, we see a little Blockness monster action.
Yeah, man. Block Nest Monster on the way. How you feeling about the return of the Block Nest Monster, man? How you feeling about the return of Mitchie, man?
I'm very excited, but a little trepidatious. Obviously, we don't want to push the button too much and have him end up injured again. So I'm hoping Tibbs is pushing the right buttons and keeping him doing a little bit a slow start, getting him tuned up, and not putting us back on the back burner. It's
Yeah.
but it's a very interesting little aspect to our team coming up.
Yeah, good call, man. Appreciate the call. Appreciate the call.
Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. All right, that was Zach on the Discord. JD, your thoughts on the return, the imminent return of the Block Nest Monster, Mitchell Robinson, man? Your thoughts, man?
He might be what he is. So crazy because after all the ups and downs of his Knick career, and after all the jokes and slander and him as well, he's contributed to some of the funny back and forth with some Knick fans and people that have been doubting him and himself, and a potential setback, who knows, in his recovery. All that, it's funny how it comes back around, and you look at the way this team has played, and you kind of think, and you're like, well, we don't have Dante DiVincenzo anymore to get some of that tough and grittiness and personality. We don't have Isaiah Hartenstein anymore to get some of that tough and grittiness and personality on the court. Is it that we actually need Mitchell Robinson to bring that to the table? Like, is it really Mitch who this team needs? Is that the type of player on and off the court that this team needs? Because he's one of the last of the originals, right? And that's the longest tenured Knick.
He is the last, longest tenured.
He's the last. And when you look at the personalities that are on the court now, and I'm looking around and I'm like, yeah, who's gonna be that guy that's just gonna get tough under the basket, is gonna get some offensive rebounds, block some shots? And you see Mitch, he may not be as demonstrative as some other players, but you do see, like, he does the head nod, kind of like the Kevin Mutombo when he gets some blocks. He does talk some trash here and there. You see it sometimes when he's playing well. He does go out there with confidence. NCP, I think this team needs that at this point. Like, even the little bit that it could bring to the table, because it can galvanize the rest of the team. And you'll start to see, Karl Anthony Towns he'll get hyped up off Mitch's energy. And I think him being a 7-footer, being able to, give you toughness right under the basket, that dynamic could do wonders for this team from a toughness standpoint, from a confidence standpoint, and a defensive presence. So his return might actually be more anticipated than I think any other Knick fan thought, because when you looked at the 5 out and Karl Anthony Towns at the 5, 2 all-star starters, the pace that we were in, and yet you still need Mitch.
Still, it all comes down to Mitch.
Isn't that funny?
It's crazy how that works, man. It all comes down to the Block Nest Monster, man. Yeah, man. Well, we're gonna talk about in down the road in the show. We're gonna talk about how they might want to utilize them, what type of lineups and things of that nature. But let us know what you guys think, man. The imminent return of the Block Nest Monster. What do you guys think about this game? 110-105. Knicks get the W. Call us up on the KFTV Discord. Mods in the chat on the YouTube side. Drop the link to the Discord. For you guys on Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, X that want to call in, the link is discord.gg/KFTV. Discord.gg/KFTV or bit.ly/KFTV cord. You got to go through the verification. You can't just jump in there. We got to make sure we know who's who. Discord is heavily, heavily secure. All right, so we got to make sure we know who's who. Make sure you're not coming in there spamming and all of that now. We got rules in the Discord. You got to come there with etiquette. and then you can wild out. It's a group chat. You could have some fun with the people. Call into the show. Very versatile, and shout out to TM for setting it up. All right? Okay. Now, let's get to all right, what do I want to get to here? All right, let's get to Captain Clutch, man. Let's hear from Jalen Brunson after this game. I'm trying to set it up, man. Where am I at here? Hang on. Brunson, here we go. Okay, let's get to the Brunson interview. It's Captain Clutch after the game with ESPN's Cassidy Hubbard. Here we go. Oh, hang on. Let me unmute my Twitters here. Here we go.
As you continue to add to your Clutch Player of the Year campaign, when they took that lead in the fourth quarter, what did you tell yourself as you went on that personal 9-0 run?
Just stay focused. You never know what's going to happen during the game. You know, things can go your way, things may not. So I'm just staying focused and just find a way to win.
Yeah, and got that huge block from Precious Achiuwa as well. You knew that was coming.
I was looking all.
If people don't know.
No, don't explain it.
Okay, I won't explain it. Well, after a difficult weekend, obviously, how good did this win feel, especially, shorthanded without Cat?
It feels good, especially, going through a little adversity. Obviously, giving up the lead, them taking the lead. You just gotta find a way to dig down and figure out how to win. So, a win's a win this league. It's big time, but we got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, and speaking of digging down, with Mitchell Robinson's return imminent, what are you hoping that you guys learn about yourself in this playoff push with 24 games left?
We got to be resilient. We got to be focused, driven, and staying on path, because there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be said, things are going to be heard throughout the world and the sports world. We got to be focused on each other and focus on getting better every single day in that locker room, on that court, in the practice court. Honestly, just sticking together. Forget everything else. Just stick together.
The internet will explain what happened before we don't have to. Congrats.
You're making it worse.
I am being the worst.
You're making it
Back to you.
All right, Captain Clutch, man. A lot of these post-game interviews are they're well trained, so they say a lot of the same stuff. But one thing that I like what he said that I think is very true. They got a resiliency, man. You talked about that grit being gone. It left with Julius. It left with Ihart. It left with DiVincenzo. It left with Mitch. They need to get that resiliency back, physically and also mentally, man. You got to lock in. Like Josh Hart had a great game today. I love how he was facilitating, dishing, getting the boards, but you got to lock in. A lot of the turnovers were just careless, telegraph passing, things of that nature. And then also, like, for example, over the weekend, yeah, they did come back against Boston. They did valiantly come back. They cut it down to 4. But a lot of the times, man, in these blowouts against these top teams, it's like by the first quarter, it's over with. Mentally. You know what I mean? They got to get more resilient, man. Get that New York grit back.
Do we have Mikal's post game?
I do got that one. Yeah.
Because when we get to that, I think it's a little interesting. Just his I don't know, man. It's just something off.
Let me find that. Let me find that. But go ahead on the resilience. Go ahead on the resiliency part. Let me find the Mikal Bridges joint.
Yeah, man. Like it's part of the conversation, and I think Jalen Brunson. He's like you said, he's the dude is a genius. He knows exactly what's going on. He's reading the room, and what he's saying there is, listen, I know that there's a lot of question marks about this team's resiliency, this team's ability to fight, this team's ability to meet the moment, and what he's saying there is, as a leader, is this is the area that we need to get better at for during the stretch run. We need to build ourselves to be a tough team, to be confident. Like, as you mentioned, Josh Hart, 7 turnovers. What are we doing? 7 turnovers? That's unacceptable. And it leads to the lack of focus, lack of concentration, and lack of confidence that they have right now as a team. And so, area of improvement that is still to be determined, that will only be, evaluated when they play the top teams. But Jalen Brunson knows what's going on, and I think he's trying to keep this team together.
Yeah, good points there. I'm still trying to find the Bridges one. Usually they put it up on the MSG Twitter. We'll keep looking for it. But in the meantime, let's get to the phones. King Matthews on the Discord. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. How y'all doing today, fellas?
Good, man. Good to hear from you, man. How you feeling about this win, man?
Man, let's just say it's a cardiac Nick affair, man. I ain't gonna lie with you. But I don't know what's worse. Almost choking lead or whatever Cat was wearing, man. It was pretty odd, but interesting at the same time.
What were those bell bottoms? You know, the kids these days
You know-
they into the different styles and thing. You know, they're just way past my era. You know what I mean? I think the
tell me,
baggy
my
look
brother.
is
You
back.
tell me, man.
I don't know.
When I started out, I'm like,
I
what
don't
is you
know.
wearing, man? Luckily, you're not wearing that Eagle joint, man. 'Cause if you was wearing that Eagle joint again, we would have went crazy. But right now, man, we're smoking that Philly pack. That's all we got to say right now, man.
Let's go. Let's go. Your thoughts on Mitch coming back? Mitchie on the way back, man. What's your thoughts, man?
Honestly, man, I'm excited. Hopefully, he doesn't play a lot of minutes, man, because you know how Tom Thibodeau with these minutes. And speaking of these minutes, man, it's OG Anunoby, man, because
Yeah.
not gonna lie, he dribbles like a fifth grader, man. Every time he goes up, he loses the ball. I don't know if it's the minutes. I don't know if it's like he's dealing with a little injury, but and I know in that Bleacher Report, I ain't gonna lie with you. You're talking about the two players that's probably gonna get signed up, like
Yeah.
TJ Warren, what the guy named Kiki, something like that.
Okeke, Chuba
You-
Okeke, yeah.
Do you think those guys will actually will play for the Knicks if?
I mean,
Because with the minutes,
honestly,
because you know how.
yeah, honestly, no. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm just going to keep it a B, no. However, I think Shamit's spot should not be guaranteed. And I think,
Oh no, that man's garbage. Get him
bro,
gone.
I would legitimately shut OG down till April. I don't care how much games they lose. I don't care chemistry. Shut him down. He doesn't look good. Every step he makes, he's grabbing his foot. I don't know. That must be an injury where he could play through pain. But my concern is that he's going to end up overcompensating for that and then end up hurting something on the right side of his leg. You know what I mean? Shut him down till April,
man.
bro. He looks terrible.
Yeah, but we need him, man. The last thing I want to do is him getting injured on the floor.
Yeah, we need him. They're in the third seed already, man. Yo, sit him down, send him home, do whatever you got to do. But the dog is looking terrible. He's not moving well. He's bricking shots. Yeah, he had like 10 or so points. As you say, he put the ball on the floor. It's a turnover.
You're right. I ain't gonna lie with you, man.
Yeah.
But before I go, man, shout out to Mikal Bridges, man.
Yeah, shout out
For
to
a
him.
game like this, he needed this.
Yeah.
Even though this is not the best team, Phil's not playing the best. But at the end of the day, they're still an NBA team. You got to produce, and you did your thing. Almost dropped 30. And speaking of Mikal Bridges, in the third quarter, I wish he got the ball a little bit more.
Yeah,
Shout out to
it got
Brunson
quiet,
for being
man.
a little bit clutch.
It got quiet.
Yeah, shout out to Brunson though.
Yeah.
But when you tried to draw a foul for the first time, okay, cool. But the second time, I don't like that. Stop drawing fouls. Get the ball moving. You have 7 assists in the first half, and then second half 0.
Yeah.
You gotta pass the ball a little bit more, man. But I ain't gonna go on you since you were Mr. Clutch, and since you're clutch, don't be surprised. This man wins the clutch of the year.
Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah, didn't you say he was third in clutch points?
Third, yes, sir. Third in clutch points, sir. Yep. Yes, sir.
He's gonna win it, man.
Let's go.
If he wins it, come back to this video.
Let's go.
Well, yeah. Let's go, Knicks. Keep it pushing. And yeah.
King Matthews.
Don't scare us like that. Y'all take it easy, fellas. Stay blessed out there.
Yeah, you too, man. King Matthews on the check. And rate that call in the chat, man. I was cracking up. I was thoroughly entertained by that call. He was funny, man. Rate that call in the chat. 1 being trash, 5 being trash.
On your KFTV Instagram.
Okay, I do have the Mikal joint. Let me pull up the Mikal interview, and then I want to get your takes on that and get your takes on the OG thing. I'm telling you, shut him down. He looks bad, bro. He looks bad. Yo, every time. And the final step, that one plant on the left foot, and you saw as he went up and he got fouled, he screamed. The usual scream, like when his elbow gets hit. It's like that, He always does that, bro. This is our $200 million investment. He's a perfect Knick. He's the perfect Knick. Remember that string of Knicks we used to get? Everybody's heard. Antonio McDyess. And then Houston caught the injury. But welcome to the New York Knicks, OG Anunoby. He's perfect for us,
He's
man.
perfect Knick because he definitely lives up to the cardiac Knicks mantra.
Yeah.
And listen, man, it's
Bobby Elliott. Yo.
I don't know. I don't know what to do anymore, man.
Bro, I don't know.
It's so weird because he's only missed like the 5-6 games. That's it, right?
I gotta double check, man. Probably, yeah. Probably.
I
It can't
think
be
this
nothing
stretch
crazy.
is the only stretch of games that he's actually like missed, but it just seems like he's battled through many more just injuries just because of his reactions on the court. And I will say, which doesn't mean it's actually a good thing because of who the player is, but from the moment of game 7 against the Pacers where he came back and you saw he toughed it out, right? He tried to play for the team. I think this season he's probably tried to build on that in terms of trying to play through things, but he's such a unique player that I don't think I kind of see why, in a sense, he's also the way he is in terms of people joke about how, well, OG's not going to play until he's 100%. He's just like Kawhi. He's just like these other players that until they know they are 100%, they're not going to play. I guess I kind of see why, because, with these nagging injuries and whatever's not reported that he has, he's not playing well through it. Like, he can't play. Like, he's already an uncoordinated player, healthy. It's already a challenge for him trying to come up with moves on a fast break and one-on-one action, trying to finish through contact, trying to finish over players that are taller and bigger than him. Like, that's already a challenge for him. It's already a challenge for him trying to figure out what's his game plan in isolation basketball.
Right.
Because he has like one move, and then once you take that away, he doesn't really have a secondary or third action in the same sequence.
It's a Hail Mary after
right?
that, bro.
He gets lost. He stops his dribble. He doesn't know. And then he's also, I honestly don't know if OG's going to age well, if his game is going to age well, because he is 27 years old, 6'7". But do you see like his mechanics? He doesn't create a lot of separation, man, on his shots.
Nope.
Do you see how many times he hops on his shots? How many times he's like using every single like everything in his right arm? Like, he goes all the way because his mechanics allows a player who even if the player is trailing, even if he's wide open, by the time he shoots, it's a contested shot.
Yeah, it's a contested shot, bro.
And I don't know that this style for him long term is going to age well for him. But I mean, for this season, that's low key an issue for this team is, and that's why there's a lot of pressure on Mikal. And that's why I think the front office wanted Mikal here, is because OG has certain limitations that smart defenders can take away. But when it comes to injury, and that's another thing, man. I don't know at this point. Sometimes I don't know what's Tip's fault, what is, what isn't. But it's like with OG and Cat, man, as soon as I see them grimace, I'm taking them out. I'm not playing no game.
Yeah, they got to shut it down, man.
And it seems like they still keep them in the game. And it's like, you're risking injury. And when it comes to OG, you're going to keep him in the game. There's a high chance something's going to happen because he's very odd with these movements and screams and stuff like that.
The guy we saw in that Philly series last year, I was so impressed with his ability to create, especially when Julius went out. He was fantastic. That's not who he's out there in the court right now. That's not him. He's not moving well. There's no benefit to having him out there right now. Zero benefit to having him out there, bro. Bring up TJ Warren. Let it fly.
Is TJ Warren your new Burks? Is that where we're going? Is that where we're going here?
Everybody wants to throw him in that big money talk. He's not that. Hey, look, put it this way. Big Money found himself, a nice little contract down in South Beach before TJ Warren. Everybody's getting snapped up off the buyout market. You got to wonder, That's why I say don't fall in love with all the G League records and all of that. Still an uphill battle, but even still, I bring him up and give him some minutes, man.
Hey, if the Knicks would have lost tonight, I would have pulled out that article where the Knicks would have lost tonight. I would have pulled out the Alec Burks, Johnny Bryant article on you. 'Cause they had word is they had a very good relationship. What I heard.
Listen, man. Shout out to Big Money. He's down there.
It was lucky they won tonight because it was about to get ugly when we were down.
I would call him up. There's no benefit to playing the dog right now. But speaking of Mikal Bridges, and we're going to get to some more phone calls in a bit. I see some people on the line. Rhyme Animal is on the line. Shout out to Tone. We're going to get to those guys in just a quick second. I want to play this Mikal Bridges interview. And then, JD, I want to hear your thoughts on that. Shout out to Al for sending it along. Shout out to Tyler Gamba. Everybody, the team is producing behind the scenes, man, making sure that the number one show for the fans by the fans is running on all cylinders. So shout out to the team for throwing the alleys on these things. Okay, let's hear from Mikal Bridges. This was his post-game interview with Alan Hahn. Shout out to Han Solo as well. Here we go.
Thank you, Mike. Mikal, that didn't have to be that close. What went on there in that second half that made this a close game, and what did it take to win it?
They came out third quarter, played stronger and faster than us. We just picked it up in the fourth and just won the game.
How important was it to get this win? After this weekend, you had 2 days to think about that weekend, and there was a lot of talk about this team. How important was it to get this win and answer all that talk?
I think it's important because it's our next game, so learn from it and get ready for the next one in a couple days.
How about you also, 19 points in the first quarter? It seemed like you were very aggressive to start this game. Did you have a different mindset tonight?
Just trying to play hard.
That's it, simply?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike?
Straight business. He wasn't doing the little three-finger handgun thing he does. He wasn't doing a little drowning thing he does at the alley. Kept it business tonight.
Bro, I don't know, man. Is this confidence there right now? Because it's more than even what he said. Like, looking at his facial expressions, he was just like, he didn't even, like, he didn't look like he even wanted to. I don't know, like he has kind of that. Like, it's not like this is something that we haven't seen from him. He's pretty, like, kind of laid back, but it's just, I don't know, man. Like, it's just my personal observation that either there's something off right now with him personally, whether it's with his confidence on the court with the team or something, but it just doesn't, I don't know, like, as a fan watching it, I don't get hype. I don't get, like, it doesn't beat the allegations. It's not Dante after a performance in the post game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's not like the energy that you think this team would need. Like, hey, Alan Howe asked him. He's like, no, it's because it's because it was just the next game. Like,
kept it short. He kept it short with Solo, man. He's kind of brief. Solo, man. That's our guy, man. Kept it kind of brief, man.
But, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't want to question certain things. You don't want to make too much, but it's just, I don't know. There was parts of the season I think I saw him having a little bit more fun.
Sure.
I don't know that he's necessarily having that at this point right now.
There's been post games where he's a bit more animated, but I kind of like this. They got dragged across the bar, as I like to say, this weekend. They got punked this weekend. And so now it's clapback time. You gotta get, Brunson said, we gotta get our resiliency, man. And Mikal Bridges is one of those guys. And like I said on the KOC show, this is New York, man. From the early beginnings of the struggles, I get it. Yes, they're running in through screens. It's a new role. He's got to do this. He's got to do that. This is New York, bro. They paid what they paid. You have to show up, and you have to play hard. You got to play hard. That's what he said on the postgame. You got to play hard. And all that, like I told KOC, all that fadeaway layups, that don't work here, bro. You know what I'm saying? That does not work here. It just don't. Even the most finesse players were still attacking the basket. One of Allen Houston's shining moments in that series against the Pacers was an and one where you attack the basket. You know what I'm saying? He had the runner against the Miami Heat to take the Heat out. David versus Goliath. You still got to have that New York grit in you, man.
Can we bring Johnny Bryan back for Mikal?
We might have to.
Just for Mikal.
Because
I thought we got rid of it with Julius. I don't know, man. Mikal might be a type of player that he may need. Where Mo Cheeks at?
Yeah.
Mo Cheeks still in the 5th row? Where he at? Who's talking to Mikal, man?
Who's talking
Who's
to
hyping
him?
my man up?
Maybe it's Rick. It's Robbie Rick, man. He's a Nova dad. You know? He's the one like, yo, man, you playing soft right now. I'm sure. Has to be. He's the one that could talk to them and keep it real without insulting them. You know what I mean? He raised them up. He can talk to them like that. It's definitely Rick, bro.
Yo, Mikal really looked like he's saying to himself, damn, I was a Brooklyn Net.
Yeah.
I thought I knew what the pressure was like, but this is different on this side of the
Nobody. We hold players accountable in this town. Yeah. That's just how it goes. It wasn't pretty, but it was gritty, man. You got to be gritty out here, man. So, you know, he's learning. He's learning. It took Julius a couple years to learn, right? He choked in the playoffs. He had the thumbs down thing, and then he started attacking. Mo Cheeks in the 5th row. They selling Mo Cheeks' seat to the highest bidder, man. Like, yo, Mo, this today, yeah, you go be over there with Donahue and them. I'm over here with Steph. Nah, behind him.
Yo. Times have changed, man.
Times have changed, man.
About 15 years ago, Mo Cheeks would be right front row. He'd be courtside.
Yeah.
2025,
different time.
You're in the
man.
5th row.
Yeah, we need that. We need that seat, man. Matthew Modine's in the house tonight, man. You got to give that up. Man. You know. Shout out to Ryan Admiral Chuck D, man. $5 Super Chat franchise channel member says it was terribly bad. We were tiny small. No chance JB pulled that Dallas Western Conference Finals assassin thing out of the bag. I swear we had nothing. Jalen Brunson is a psycho. Let's get to Chuck right now. Shout out to the Ryan Admiral, man. On the Discord. Chuck, how you feeling, man?
Not exactly like that. Man, we got tiny, man. When Huck went down a little bit, then I was like,
yeah,
yo, we got nobody down there.
Yeah.
Nobody. Kelly Oubre was looking like he was Wilt Chamberlain going in there. I mean, come on, man. At my age and stage, man. Yeah, I mean, this hard to score, hard to defend thing, and I know we're not complete, but I mean, look, we pulled it off with Tibbs gambling against Chicago. He put Bridges on Vucevic, and I was like, that's crazy. And we got away with that. And then we got dealt with Cleveland and Boston. And then it came down to this thing tonight, man. We tiny. One thing I think when Mitch comes back, I think it will help Huck Porty if they I don't know how they practice. So Mitch and iHeart, when they were going head to head, it seemed like steel sharpens steel. Did you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It seemed like iHeart figured out after being with Mitch and going through practices and mano a mano, iHeart turned into a beast. And he didn't start out that way with us.
That's true. That's right.
And he was a rim protector like a mug, you know? And so I think that there might be an upside to Huck practicing with Mitch so we have a formidable backup just in case, because without it, we ain't got nobody. We ain't even got to simulate a body down there, to throw a body in there.
Yeah.
Who we got?
Simulations in Milwaukee, they're putting in work out there, man. Simulations putting in work out there, man. It's getting more.
Man, let me tell you, man. OG is playing with 1986 Mark Aguirre kicks, and it just ain't gonna work on these courts. And I just think the moment, like, I mean, I can't, and I know it's the league thing. I can't stand ESPN when every quarter they gotta interview somebody. when they interviewed Mikal at the right between the third and the fourth quarter, I'm like, why are you throwing that kid up in there? It's the moment's too big for him. Leave him silent, sit him down. But they dragged him up. They asked him about the game, and the game ain't even finished.
Yeah.
So it's that type of stuff with this type of stage. I think that the kid is overwhelmed. James Brown made a record back in the day called Bewildered. That's what he's going through right now, man. And it was, I tell you, last thing it would go, but it was funny because there are a lot of distractions going on, and hearing Tyler Murray on Nick Radio.
Shout out to
he
Tyler.
called it. It was funny. He said, "Here's a pass to the podcastless Paul George." It was funny. I was dying. All right, I'm sorry now. Salute y'all.
Yeah, man. Salute OG, man. Appreciate you, man. Shout out to our guy Tyler Murray, man. He taps in with the show. I got a chance. I ran into him a couple weeks ago. He's bigging us up, man. Shout out to Tyler. He definitely taps in with us. And good segue by Chuck, JD. Great segue by Chuck, because it was so funny. On today's Bleacher Report show, I talked about Paul George when he said he's shutting down the podcast. Hey, listen, Sixers are bumming it up. He should have done this when he first started. He shut it down. And I threw this question out there. I said, is it time for the roommates to shut it down? And not knowing that our guy, the governor, Kendrick Perkins, had suggested this on the NBA Today pregame show for the Knicks versus Sixers game. So we now turn to Worst Take, JD. We now turn to Worst Take. It is now the segment, time for Worst Take, man, where we go around the NBA podcast sphere and react to sound bites as it relates to the New York Knicks. So here is the governor, Kendrick Perkins, on NBA Today, talking about the Paul George shutting down podcast P, and suggesting maybe it's time for Jalen and Josh to do the same. Here's Kendrick Perkins, the governor. JD, I'm going to have you react to it. Here we go.
Paul George is not the only person that should be, taking a break from podcasting during the basketball season. I feel like Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart as well need to take a break, because if you're trying to go out there and honestly compete for an NBA championship, that should be your only goal. Anything else outside of that is a distraction, right? I wish I would have walked in the 2008 locker room talking about our podcasting through the season, or anybody else. It would have been smoke and furniture moving around there. So, again, guys need to keep the main thing the main thing. And when you have an opportunity to win a championship, keep the main thing the main thing. Everything else can wait.
Okay.
Big Perk, the governor. Now, we did give him that nickname when he was on the show last year. Now people are out for his head, man. People are saying we need to impeach him. What do you think, man? Big Perk, the governor. They say we got to impeach him. They say we got to, revoke the title. The nickname commission.
Big Perk crashing out like the regular Knicks fan on the Knicks Twitter, man. Big Perk feeling the pressure. He's scrambling. He's running out. He's running out of excuses to give us. I think it was just last week when Stephen A was going off. Big Perk was still saying, chill. He gave us the back-to-back excuse when we lost to the Cavaliers, although we just had 8 days off.
Yeah.
And the Cavaliers also on a back-to-back. So I think Big Perk is just running out of ways to justify the Knicks play against the elite teams. And I think, it's funny. I think when you break it down, the Roommates podcast is not really what is it really doing in terms of, because the Paul George podcast is different. Paul George is out here interviewing all types of people nationally. But if you really focus in terms of the niche of the Roommates podcast, they're interviewing Mike Breen. They're having every single player on the Knicks. They're having a different Knicks player every week. They had Mark Cuban in there. They had Taylor Rooks in there.
Why are you saying it like that, bro? Go ahead, man.
My bad. We live. Hold on. They say when you mention her name, you get hypnotized. I was woo. All right. We live.
Focus, man. Focus.
Taylor Rooks.
Yes.
They have her in there. So I think when you when you break down the roommates podcast, there's nothing. It's not like they're really doing anything out of bounds or like crazy outside of the scope that they're doing their podcast, doing it once a week. And who are the players doing it too? Is Jalen Brunson, who is third in the NBA at clutch points, who is the player that is literally continuing to bail us out.
Yeah.
And it's Josh Hart, who is our, hustle guy, the guy that you could make a strong argument was another all-star candidate for the New York Knicks, especially after you saw a few players hurt. He could have been a substitute for a Jalen Johnson or something like that, right? So I think when you look at the players involved, it ain't that serious to me. However, and I think Paul George, because of he's Paul George, he has like all different types of guests. He was more national with it, and I think the pressure he felt first. Yo, he said, I'm gonna cancel it so I can focus on competing for a championship. I said, compete for what?
Yeah, right.
Paul
Ship
George,
sail, buddy.
You're like 40 games too late, buddy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the roommates podcast, I'll say this though. You saw Jalen Brunson tonight mention resilience. You see, like a lot of people are scrambling now, trying to figure things out. I will say this. It wouldn't be a bad thing if they did it as a kind of psychological kind of let's lock in type of thing to where the Knicks personalities could kind of rally around something like that, where it's like, our captain who's already playing well is saying, forget all this. We're going Kobe mama mentality. Something like that could bring the team even a little bit more together. But I don't know. Other than that, maybe I don't see why they should stop doing it because of who's involved in the way they're playing. But as of kind of outside the box thing, because of the pressure this Knicks team is facing, I could also see how it could low-key have a little bit of an effect on this team based on the personalities that are on this roster and the way that those personalities on this roster are being questioned for their toughness and their desire for the game.
Yeah, those are all good takes. I think I can see why Paul George did it. As I said, I thought it was kind of cringy even way back when the season started that he was still doing it, even when Philly was still respectable in the league. But now that they're completely out of it, you got the whole Embiid saga. Is he going to come back? And they're talking about breaking bones in his hip. Like, they're just crashing and burning over there in Philly. And Paul George, their biggest investment, they should still have enough to be more than just a playing consideration with Paul George and Maxey. So you're looking even worse by continuing to do this podcast and you're bumming it up over there in Philly. You're not looking like a dog and you're looking very casual like you just went there to get the bag. This is why I didn't want Paul George here in New York to begin with. But with Jalen and Josh, like those are the two guys on this team who deliver on a nightly basis. They come to work every day. They put in the work. Jalen makes the all-star team, career high in assists, number 3 in clutch, as we talked about at the top of this show. He's delivering when it matters the most. Josh Hart, career highs in assists as well, career high shooting. Like, he's putting in the work every single day despite battling injuries. Like, I don't think those guys, in the fourth quarter crunch time are thinking, oh, man, we got to book our next guest. Or, what am I going to ask, Vinny from The Sopranos when we get up with him in the studio. Like, it's one day in their off day to let loose, relax a little bit, probably a couple hours. Like, we record podcasts, probably 1 or 2 hours, 2 hours probably. You go home and you do what you got to do. I will say this, though. Because the expectations have been heightened around this team, I would go on a hiatus after the regular season. After the regular season, book up your guests. After the regular season, it's just like how J.J. Redick with Old Man and the 3. He got his boy taking over. They got Halliburton. They do this guy. They still keep it as a going concern. They still keep it as an operation. You let, what's the third wheel? Matt. Let Matt take over. You know what I mean? Take over with his guests. Do the thing. You keep it going. You do your clips. But I think it would be good to go on a hiatus, get ready for the playoffs, and lock in. Because the first round ain't guaranteed. You just saw Cade. Cade and them just sent Boston packing tonight.
They like
All right?
8-9 in a row now.
They just won 8 in a row. They sent Boston back in. Cade is not playing around. And they lost to the Pistons 2 out of 3 this year. So you already got fans on edge that they can't beat Boston and Cleveland. Now you got fans scared that they might not get out the first round because Cade might pull off the upset. Take a break at the end of the regular season. Do your thing now. They got the 3rd seed. We're straight. When come April 11, 12, whenever the regular season finish, take a break. Show the fans we locked in, we ready, and get ready for war. Because Cade going to be ready for war, bro. He's not playing around with these guys right now.
And JB Bickerstaff is going to be a motivated coach. He's like, oh, yeah,
Right.
I'm tired of hearing that whole Cleveland Cavaliers thing too. It ain't only the players that were left there. It's also me as the head coach. So you have him. You have one of the Thompson twins who Alsar had 5 steals tonight, and then you talk about the team that is getting questioned for their toughness. Well, you want to deal with Isaiah Stewart for a 7-game series?
That's right. Beef stew coming through.
Like,
he's trying to get under somebody's skin. You know what I mean? He's going to try to get somebody thrown out or try to scrap.
You got the former Knick Tim Hardaway, and I hate players like that are like J.R. Smith types because Tim Hardaway can win one game in a 7-game series for the Detroit Pistons shooting from 50 because those players, we've seen it very, very much. Those players can get red hot in one game. And so, like, the Pistons have a building formula to upset you. So, the tricky thing, too, though, CP, is when you do these podcasts, like when you say do it in the offseason, the thing is a lot, when you talk about algorithms, traffic, there's less traffic in the offseason. So I think part of the marketing strategy is to do this during the games because that's where more eyes are on the platforms and they're on the algorithms because everybody's tuned into the season. There's more attention and more traffic. But forget all that, man. Like, forget all that. Like, you have to try something different. And I think it would mean something to the fans and to the team. And it's just funny. It's 2025. It's part of all this creative ways of leading.
Yeah.
Everything is not the old school way. Listen, go on a little hiatus and make a little statement and show your teammates that although you're one of the top 5 clutch players in the NBA this season, that's nothing to you, that you're thinking about the team, that you want the team to lock in. And that's one way to lead by example, since he's not the most, I would say, vocal leader. That would be something that I think will have an effect on the team.
Big facts, man. Big facts. What do you guys think in the chat? Let us know, man. Should they shut down the Roommates pod and focus on the season? Is Big Perk right? Do you agree or disagree with Big Perk, the governor? Let us know your thoughts, man. Leave some comments in the comment section, and we will shout you guys out, man. CP and JD on the 1s and 2s. KFTV post game live, and we're gonna get to the key stats of the night. Where we want to shout out the next sponsor of tonight's show, and that is Skims. Yep, we're back, man. Shout out to Skims. We're back. Shout out to Kim K and the team over there at Skims, the official underwear partner of the NBA as well as KFTV. If you go to skims.com right now, you can get 15% off when you join their mailing list. However, under the men's collection, fellas, hey, man, they got a ton of dope stuff for today's man. From boxers and briefs, tees and tanks, hoodies, sweatshirts. You got pajamas, socks, things of that nature. So everyday essentials. But the thing that I like about Skims the most is that it's very comfortable, fits form-fitting, and especially with the boxer briefs, man. You get the 3 set of boxer briefs. It fit almost like athletic tights, man. So it's very versatile. You can do what you need to do in them. You could, you could hoop. You could ride your bike, whatever. You work out. A lot of you guys are athletic, man. You like to be active during the daytime. So especially with the boxers and the boxer briefs, they don't ride up on you like some other brands. Not to knock other brands. So shout out to Skims, man. Very comfortable apparel. And they have a versatile selection, man, and even a women's collection if you want to get something for your lady, man. So what you could do is go to skims.com, shop the collection, and then they're going to send you a survey. They're going to send you a purchase survey of how you found out about them. click on podcast, and then click on Knicks Fan TV. Definitely recommend the 5-inch boxer brief. Comes in a 3-pack, and they got a ton of cool colors that you can rock with, man. So shout out to our guys at Skims for sponsoring tonight's show. Okay,
which one you recommend, CP?
the 5-inch boxer briefs, a 3-pack, man. I'm gonna send you some, man. I thought I sent some to you already, man. I thought I had the R&D team send you a pack, man. Just let me know, man. Pick out whatever you want, man. Let me know, man.
Bet.
Yeah, there you go, man. Shout out to our guys at Skims. Okay, all right, let's get to the key stats of the night, man. Knicks shooting 51% from the field, JD, 44 for the Sixers. 36% from downtown, the Knicks shoot, and 32% for the Sixers. Knicks only get up 19 threes. So their inability to get up to at least NBA average in threes, still kind of iffy. Sunday in Boston, they did much better. But tonight, only 19 threes. Certainly not having Towns probably accounts for a couple, but even still, that's a very low number. Something to take a look at as they continue. 43, they shoot 79% from the free throw line, 23 of 29, and conversely, the Sixers go 16 of 20. Rebounds, 43 to 35. They did win the rebounding battle, so without Towns and Mitch still coming back, I still think they did a good job there. Assist battle, they won by 1, 22 to 21. But this is where things got tough. 16 turnovers leading to 18 Sixer points really helped Philly get back into this game. And then 13 Sixer turnovers led to 21 Knick points. So they were able to generate some offense there. Knicks winning the points in the paint battle 50 to 42. And then the fast break battle 14 to 11. Largest lead of the night, man, 19 for the Knicks and 4 for the Sixers. What do you think, man?
You said it right there, man. I just don't understand it. I think it would have been a very heavy criticism of the head coach's game plan tonight, of the emphasis tonight, if they would have lost. I think it would have been a bigger talking point around the game plan of tonight, because I just don't understand. Like, when you look at a lot of the other statistics and you see, okay, what happened here, that's the 3-point disparity. You had 77 shot attempts, and out of those 77 field goals, 19 were threes. Meanwhile, the Sixers threw up 34 threes, and they're even a little bit under, some of the 3-point shots these NBA teams are getting per night at 38, 40 plus. So 19, and how about this? Also in the second half, only 9 of those 19 threes in the second half to the Sixers 17 threes. That's how the Sixers got back in the game. They were 7 of 17. They shot 41% from 3 in the second half, and the Knicks only got 9 attempts. And, and your captain, I think he shot 5 of those, and that's sometimes even a surprise. I think that's a very good number there for him. Probably want him to get 5, 6 a game, just because, it creates more space for him. They got to figure this out in terms of the philosophy. Now, listen, like you said, Karl-Anthony Towns, but the Knicks still have had too many nights this season where they're not getting enough volume. They're not creating enough 3-point shots. So they're going to have to figure that out. And to me, that is my observation of stat of the night.
Yeah, and especially if their defense isn't going to be stout, you're basically stuck in the middle. You're going to be very average. So they got to be careful there, and they got to, work up some better offense, more creativity to generate more output there from 3, because the better teams are going to do that, and that's how you find yourself in those lopsided situations.
Deuce plays 17 minutes, gets a 1-shot attempt. First of all, Deuce playing 17 minutes, even though he had 4 fouls, is questionable as it is.
Yeah.
But, especially when you're shorthanded tonight. But,
right.
Him getting 1 3-point shot attempt. I mean, come on. Like, the emphasis here is to get more production from your bench. The guy just had a good week last week. He was a big part of the reason why you came back against the Celtics. Like, we need to be consistent in our approach, and we need to be consistent in what we demand from specific players on this roster that are going to get us to another level. Deuce McBride is one of them. So to me, I talk to him, or whether it's him or the coach, and I say to myself, One 3-point shot is 17 minutes from, a scorer like you, or it's unacceptable. It just is. Like, you can't get three-point attempts from your bench in a game like tonight. You got 3-point attempts from your whole bench. It's just not sustainable in today's NBA.
It's good points. Good points by you. All right, a couple more calls before we wrap. Knicks going to be headed to Memphis on Friday. I'm trying to get Chris Vernon on the show. I hit him up. I'm trying to get Chris Vernon on the show tomorrow at some point. And then for Friday in Memphis. Sunday, make sure, man, anybody headed down to the Knicks versus Heat game, man. We're getting the band back together, getting the family back together at Black Market Bayside. 3 p.m. pregame meetup. The game is at 6 o'clock. Knicks versus Heat is at 6 o'clock. So we'll be back at Black Market Bayside at 3 p.m. down on 401 Biscayne Boulevard. So those of you that came out last year, definitely pull up on us. We had almost 100 people last year. So we had a great turnout last year. Kids are welcome. Whole family's welcome. It's just a restaurant. So come through for the pregame and holla at your boys, man. We'll be down there. And it'll be a good time. So that's Black Market Bayside, 401 Biscayne Boulevard down there in Miami. All right? So shout out to the 305 Knicks squad down there. Okay, Tone on the Discord. Go ahead and unmute your mic. Tone, how you feeling?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. How you feeling, bro?
I'm all right, man. A quick little side note. Milwaukee, man, they not giving up Giannis. I can stop that 5 picks for Giannis stuff. I live in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
They'll burn this city down. So if you could just forget about that.
Yeah.
About this game, man, OG, man, I need him during the offseason to just get locked in the gym and just lock him in the gym with Jamal Crawford. Just work on your handles, just please, bro, because it's so frustrating just seeing him dribble. It's an eyesore, man. Like I can't understand. Like I don't get it. I just don't get it. It was one play, I think, on a fast break when he was going up for a layup and he tried to do a hop step gather, but it just looked weird, and Doris called it out too on ESPN. She was like, every time he drives, it looks like he doesn't have balance, but somehow he's just strong enough to just will it in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man. That's why it's just so easy to guard him. He don't have control of the ball. My second thing, man, I'm gonna need Dotson to take that take back, man, about those guards.
It's so funny
tripping on
that came
one.
up. Yeah. Shout out to Dot. He was a good sport about it, man. Knicks fans let him know in the comment section, man. They were not pleased with this.
Yeah, it's still time to take it back, bro. Because I don't know what he was talking about. I'm like, bro, Jalen Brunson is way better than De'Aaron Fox, please.
Yeah.
But it was a good game, man. It was a great win. Got to see Mikal, man, step up. He need to take this going forward, man. Just play with effort. That's it. Just be aggressive, a little bit aggressive, man. I'm happy he wasn't doing all of the side finger shots and all the things he do when the celebrations and stuff. I'm happy he wasn't doing that this game. Just do that. Do what you did today. Do it for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And we'd be good. That's it, man.
And I even like with him, he I think playing in transition and playing with more pace will certainly help him. But one of the things that I've never really liked about his game this year is that his shot selection sometimes in transition, it's almost like he's a little too rushed. It's bro, set your feet, get in, you by yourself. And sometimes he'll get on a fast break and he'll just chuck something. I'm like, yo, just set your feet down and get a good shot up. Tonight he did that.
If you see him on the times he do lay it up, he lays it up strong. He has a good strong layup game. I don't understand why he never uses it. He has long arms. His arms stretch, he be already at the rim already. Just do that, bro. You don't need to shoot. I get it, bro. Your mid range is lethal, but you gotta drive, bro. Because OG can't do it. We need you to drive.
He can't. And that was some part of my issue, going into the season with this roster makeup. I'm like, who's a real two guard who can attack the basket in the half court? And they really don't have it. Hart will do it and he does it well in transition. But they don't really have that guy that can get that. They don't have the RJ type. Shout out to the Broadway Barrett. Shout out to my guy. They don't have it. They just don't have it. So, something to work on. But appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call, bro.
All right, man.
Shout out to Tone, man. Always calling in, good points. Call back anytime. Shout out to Tone.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Tom Thibodeau's comments, do you think that's a change of philosophy from the organization potentially, or do you think that was the plan all along?
Yeah, let me get to let me get to those comments that, as you said, hang tight. Salute to everybody in the chat. Let's get to it. This was Tibbs on the approach of Mitchell Robinson. All right, let me play it right now. Salute to everybody in the chat. Let me get it going. Here we go.
How much does Mitch factor into that when he comes back? What kind of lift does he give you?
Well, and I think you have to look at it and say, okay, Mitch was projected to be the starting center on the team. So we've gone 50-something games without our starting center. And I think guys have done a really good job stepping in. Could we do better? I always believe we could do better. So, Mitch is an elite pick-and-roll defender. He's an elite rim protector. He's an elite offensive rebounder. Those are things that, are critical.
Yeah, so I have played this early on the Bleacher Report show. I mean, my take on this is I truly believe that they did bring in Towns to utilize him as the 5 and gain those advantages. Now, once they seen how absolutely terrible this defense is with him, they seen for their own eyes, they realize how important it is, how important Mitch is to this team going forward. I don't think that they're going to rush to just throw him in the starting lineup because obviously he's going to need ramp-up time. He's going to need to get up to game speed, and you don't want to be reckless with his return. Like, I was told this could be, especially like they're going to target Friday at Memphis, and if he does get back out there, it's going to be like 5-minute spurts, like 5 minutes out, 5 minutes out. So it could be like roughly like 15 to 18 minutes for Mitch. But I think what it does mean is that come playoff time, he could be finishing these games. He could be closing. You could be closing with Mitch and Towns out there because it's going to be that important.
Or he could be even starting some of those games.
Maybe he's starting, matchup dependent.
Playoffs is the time that you see different lineups where especially, it's the times where you see coaches change a lineup from one game to the next if you're down in a series. Down on one, coaches are expected to make adjustments, and sometimes their only adjustment is lineup adjustments. And so you could see that as well. I'll say this, CP. I think you're right because I think this front office knew that by making the Cat trade, listen, you had Tom Thibodeau, CA. These guys knew the degree of defensive deficiency that Karl-Anthony Towns is already as a player. I mean, you got John Calipari in phone calls making jokes that Karl-Anthony Towns can't guard the pick and roll.
Right.
So, like, you talk about getting information, scouting, whatever. There's no other organization than the Knicks to know, the degree of, like, defense that this guy does not provide, especially at the 5. He gives you effort, but he's not necessarily a good defender. I think the Mikal inconsistency has thrown this thing a little bit off to where now Mitch's value has actually had an uptick to this roster. I think they felt that they looked at that OG, stretch that last year. You saw the ridiculous, plus minus numbers with OG. You saw the ridiculous, individual defensive stats with OG. You talk about this guy was even rising the defensive player of the year votes before he had that injury. With Rudy Gobert, and like he was getting a lot of hype early on as a Knick. I think they felt if we compare that with Mikal, the power of friendship, we're gonna get a career year Mikal because we got it with Dante. I think they felt that combo was gonna be enough with Josh Hart as the eraser to kind of keep it decent, keep it solid. And they haven't even gotten that out of this nucleus. So I think now they're kind of shifting their focus and they're telling everyone, whoa, wait. The true piece of this puzzle defensively is actually Mitch. That's my quarterback. That's my defensive guy. That's my joking Noah. And I think he is going to be, and going into how valuable he is, CP, I think Mitch is going to be the last piece to give this front office all the information they need now about this roster, this nucleus, and the whole Mikal OG thing, because it does connect with a rim protector, an offensive rebounder, and a shot blocker, as Tom Thibodeau mentioned. So I think Mitch is going to be important, not only for Mitch, but for this front office in terms of what they do this offseason.
Yeah, it's just going to be a big evaluation time for these final 20 games and into the playoffs. No question about it, man. So to everybody in the chat, once again, 1,500, almost 2,000 when you factor in YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram. Shout out to everybody tapping in with the squad. Gonna read some more super chats. We'll close with Say Quizzy on the Discord. And then I got to bounce. I got to catch the next episode of Paradise, man. Paradise been off the chain. I'm about to tap in on the Fire Stick, get to the Paradise, and then get back to work tomorrow as well, man. Got to ship out some merch and all of that. So great show, though. And, yeah, exciting times for the Orange and Blue. Shout out to Lord Stephen Stone, franchise channel member, says the Villanova boys came through, especially Brunson. He's the captain for a reason. Liked Huck 40 minutes for the first starting game. Yeah, definitely, man. Villanova boys definitely came through. Hart, Brunson, and Bridges. Huck Porty looked good. He played a disciplined game. Unfortunately, he left the game with a left knee sprain. So we'll see how long he's going to be out for. But that's going to put more pressure on Precious to stay healthy. And, you know, because with Karl Anthony Towns, with his patellar tendinopathy, who knows when he's going to feel good to get back out there. I think he's another guy where they got to keep him on ice because it's not going to improve. It'll improve with rest, but that's about it.
I think he'll play Friday, but if this thing was to be more, it's like it's another one on the head coach. Like, you saw him, like, we going to put him back in the game. What are we doing? I think he's going to play.
That was
I think it's more of a precautionary thing. I think the Knicks are starting to show you they're starting to get, they're starting to catch up to the whole, listen, man, like, you're not supposed to say that, but Sixers lost 8 in a row. We should have enough to beat them. Let's just give them rest, give them a whole week, all the way to the end of Friday with Mitch. Let's bring it back. Like, I think they're starting to catch up to that lingo because it seems like the Knicks don't want to do that. They want to play everyone every game. But man, if this is something that turns into anything serious, you look at the head coaching and you're like, yo, what are we doing?
He had no business being back out there on Sunday, man. He had no business volunteering, and Tibbs had no business even asking him. The game was done. Shout out to Fox Venkman. Franchise channel member $5 Super Chat says, why Nick Nurse challenged that call towards the end. I saw it was Nick's ball all the way from CO. Piece of KFTV, always the best part of my day. Shout out to Fox Venkman. I think Nick Nurse was he was pretty aggy the way this game was called. And so I think he was just searching for something, man. He was just searching for something. They said in his pregame press conference, I have the soundbite, but I don't want to play, but he's basically complaining about the foul calls, didn't feel like his team was getting the respect tonight. So that was Nick Nurse just fighting for his
Nothing
guys.
new.
Nothing new.
Nothing new. He's tired of getting cooked by Brunson. I understand.
That's correct. Shout out to Gary Riker, JD, franchise channel member, $20 Super Chat says, guys, we are laying low until the playoff push. Otherwise, Tibbs burns guys out. We are holding Mitch till playoffs. OG and Bridges are expendable. We bide our time until playoffs. What are your thoughts? They're playing. They're going to play to win the game. Sure, do they have spurts where they let go of things? Sure. But they're certainly playing to win the game. And let me shut down the chat. IG chat is or YouTube chat is going crazy. They're definitely playing to, win the game. Are OG and Mikal expendable? I wouldn't categorize them as that. But as JD has said, hey, this is evaluation time. I wouldn't cast them away like, there's some scrubs. Definitely don't want to do that. JD, any thoughts on that one?
I mean, playoffs is going to decide a lot of the fate of so I think of a couple players,
Yeah.
couple of potential roster decisions, because I think, you know, depending on the way they perform in the playoffs, could dictate how aggressive the front office gets. I understand right now everything is being pushed out there that this is the nucleus that we're going to be with for the next 4 years. They're all going to be together. They're going to grow together, and we're going to get through it. I'm not buying that.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, man. Shout out to Juan Carlo Catanero on the Facebook side. Man, people hit us up today talking about how Doris Burke adopted the Captain Clutch lingo. So shout out to Doris Burke. She probably picked it up from KFTV. She probably picked it up. The nicknames travel, man. From Broadway Barrett to Block Nest Monster, man. That was one of the first ones. Captain Clutch. Yeah, she picked it up, man. It was all over the broadcast. You know, they don't want to shout me out. But, you know, Breen, you could have shouted me out, Breen. You know what I'm saying? I'm your guy, Breen. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no. Breen was with Monica. So Doris was with, who was she with? Ruko or was it Dave Patch? I don't remember. I was cooking dinner. I wasn't really listening. I was rocking with CK, actually. I was rocking with CK2K in a play-by-play. But, yeah, you know, listen, man.
You had me dying the way you told Damian Dotson, like, just make sure you know when he was like, oh, what? He was surprised about that Knicks thing. You were like, yeah, just so you know, just make sure you remember who gave him that name.
That's right.
That was
hilarious. That's right. Captain Clutch, man. We're gonna put some respect on his name. And then when he hit the 9 straight, I added Dot on Twitter. I said, "You watching this?"
It may not be. I mean, he's in Turkey, right?
Probably not. Probably not. Shout out to Dot, man. You know, shout out to Dot. He was a good camper about it. Had to put him up on the Summer Jam screen on the latest episode, on the previous episode of Worst Take. But he was good. He was a good soldier about it, man. Shout out to Dot, man. Shout out to Dot. And shout out to Captain Clutch, man. Definitely delivered when the team needed him. You doing play-by-play on Friday, right? Knicks Memphis?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there you go. All
Yes,
right, so
sir.
play-by-play, man. It's a big game. Big game.
Oh, yeah. John Morant. Reminds me of the good old days when Mitch was healthy and John Morant tried to come to the paint and Mitch said no.
Yeah. Yep.
Fun times.
Yep.
Maybe you know, it's funny. That's actually a good game to get Mitch back because
great game.
Memphis is one of the fastest paced, might be the fastest paced team in the league.
Yeah.
And they put up threes in a hurry.
Yeah. And you know they're going to want revenge. Knicks did put in work when they came to the Garden. They're going to want revenge. And I think Taylor Jenkins, seeing this Knicks team hobbled, they weren't really running that well when they came to the Garden. You know, you didn't really feel that in the Garden. I think you might feel that on Friday. I think you might feel that on Friday night. So the Knicks got to be careful. And can't be coming in there with all these turnovers that they did tonight. They got to be a lot more thoughtful with their offense and more diligent. So, because you know, Ja's going to be off to the races. He didn't have a great game in the Garden. He's going to want to get revenge. Who else? EC, $20 Super Chat says, I'm not going to lie, I don't feel the hype like last season. I still love this team with the Cardiac Knicks again. The lesser teams, but we're more like the flatliners against the better teams. I'd say keep the faith, man. Anything can change, man, when the playoff time comes. That was one of the things that made us diehard Knicks fans, is that, like, you just never know, man. Look at 99, perfect example. They had one of the worst seasons, up and down seasons. Sprewell on the bench starting, he was struggling. We're like, man, what happened to John Starks? And everything came together in the playoffs. Everything came together. You just don't know. Just hang on, keep the faith, and enjoy the run, man. You know, enjoy the run.
And I hope they play the Pistons first round. Now that I think about it,
Me too.
because that low key might be a little scare, but that might be something the team needs.
Springboard.
Little Isaiah Stewart, like get us ready for the second round.
Yeah,
I'm down for that.
I agree with that. Shout out to Cool Vids Man franchise channel member says Brunson bailed out Tibbs tonight. Well, that's what your best player should do. You know, your best player got to come through in the clutch when his number is called. You know, that's it, man. Say Quizzy on the Discord. Go ahead, now mute your mic.
You again?
How you feeling?
Feeling good. We got a W.
Yeah.
The Knicks love giving us a heart attack though.
Cardiac Knicks.
Even though we was up like in the game, I'm like, I don't know. We just not closing the door. Like
Yeah.
Maxey and Paul George was kind of off. So I'm like, if they start hitting their shots, they might make it a game. And they did, but we still took a dub. But Bridges, he needed this bounce back. Like, I think it was like 7 games. Like, he couldn't get past 14 points or 13 points.
Right.
So he needed this. So hopefully Friday we can see the same Mikal and it'll be somebody else. Because John Morant gonna want revenge. Last game, he ain't really do too much. So
Right.
Friday game, I'm expecting him to try to go off. But Brunson saved us today, getting all the buckets, the 3 points. Thank God he made that. But OG, I don't know. He had fast breaks, but I was scared of those fast breaks.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Like, he had tried to do a Euro step. I'm like, no, don't do it. Even though it's one person, I'd rather you pass it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Because, we got 24 games. We just need him to survive.
Yeah.
Don't do too much. Like, I think the 3rd seed we're going to have regardless. Because I think everybody else, we probably 6 games outside of the 4th seed. They going to be battling. But I believe we're going to have that 3rd seed. So, and Mitch should be, I don't know if he's playing Friday. Well, whenever he come back, I'm praying he changed this defense, make it a little bit better. Because I feel like every time we miss a person, it was always an excuse. Like, Achiuwa, we was like, oh, when he come back, the defense gonna look better. Then OG's out, he's like, oh, we ain't have OG this day. So I'm praying Mitch can help the defense and OG and them could be better. But that's all I really got to say.
Yeah, there you go, man. Appreciate the call. Say Quizzy closing the show, man. Shout out to Say Quizzy on the Discord. Okay. Great show, everybody, man. Great show. Captain Clutch turned the night around.
Oof.
Yeah. He didn't save Tibbs. He saved post-game tonight. He saved. Yeah.
That would have been ugly.
It would have been ugly, man. It would have been ugly. But, yeah, either way, salute to the family, man. Salute to all the mods, all the producers, man. Gambit, Tyler. Shout out to Alex and Tyler for helping out tonight. On the production side, shout out to the Rhyme Animal, Chuck D. TM, we see you in the chat. Shout out to TM. All of our franchise channel members, salute to you guys, man, from, tapping in on the Bleacher Report Live to rocking with play-by-play to rocking with post-game. I see some of the same names all day, every day. So you guys are rocking with us heavy. Everybody on Instagram, Facebook, we appreciate you guys. As I said, tomorrow, we're planning the Memphis game preview. We're trying to get Chris Vernon. We're trying to coordinate with Chris Vernon for tomorrow night at some point. And then Friday, catch JD on Play-by-Play Live. And then myself and Alex will be back on the post game. And then Sunday, I think it'll be CK Play-by-Play. And then JD Alex on post game. And I'll jump in at some point, man. So either way, the squad got y'all covered, man. Make sure you go back on the channel. We got a ton of content from the Dotson interview. My interview with Kevin O'Connor. I joined the Kevin O'Connor Show, Yahoo Sports. Make sure you tap into that. Knicks Weekly with my pastor, Pastor Mike from First Corinthian Baptist Church. Everybody loved the Pastor Mike episode, man. Pastor Mike was dropping some basketball jewels on us, man. So that was a great episode. But I say that to say we got a ton of content on the channel for you guys to tap into, man. So make sure you're catching up. Whenever you watch a video, like, share, subscribe. It goes a long way in supporting us. And we appreciate it, man. Remember, these shows are available in audio podcast format. No reason to miss it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, man. JD, great show. We out of here, man. Peace.